Scary, but they did Robyn's makeup.
I know.
It was magical. I can't get over that. Every time I look at that picture, I'm like, ugh.
All right, Kody Brown, we get it. You're attracted to Robyn. She is your pretty, shy wife. You do not need to go licking the air on the show because we all think it's disgusting. We get it. You don't have to prove anything anymore to us. We believe you. So just stop. On the other hand, there was no way I was going to make this video and leave that clip out because honestly, it was one of those standout moments, right? Like when the show ended, I was like, did Kody act like he was licking something at the beginning of the show? Yes, he did. And I shouldn't leave out the fact that it's one of the few times where Robyn seems to be genuinely happy and smiling. Just look at that face. Before we talk about the show itself, I do want to talk about Suki. I thought she did a great job. In the past, I have been a little bit critical of the fact that she's almost too nice. And I know some of you are like, that's her strategy. If she stays super nice, then they're always going to talk with her and chat with her. And that's like her way of handling the more difficult people like Kody. And it's also her way of getting them to say things because they're comfortable. I get it. I'm with you guys. I mean, I understand why she does that. It makes sense. Even in this episode, Janelle says that Suki is so nice to talk to. She forgets, and then she might say something she doesn't really want to say on the show. So I get why Suki does that, but there's also this part of me that wishes she would push back or question the things that Kody says, because sometimes Kody Brown just gives dumb answers and we need someone to be like, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. I felt like this one-on-one, she managed that. She was nice, friendly to talk to, had her excellent interview skills going on, but she gave a little pushback and she questioned Kody. And there was even at least one time she rolled her eyes when he said something, which she's done before, but I felt like, I don't know, it felt like there was something a little bit different going on. So maybe some of the opinions of the viewers, like us wanting her to, I don't know, be a little more assertive, like question Kody, because that man will say absolutely anything, even if it makes no sense at all. I felt like she must have listened, or TLC must have listened, and she did a great job. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments, but I think this is a little bit more of what I was hoping for. Sit down and talk with him, but call Kody out when there's a bunch of BS. And he really had a lot of it in this one-on-one. As a matter of fact, most of the clips I'm going to put in this video are Kody saying things that just, I'm like, what are you talking about? But anyway, that's how I felt about Suki. You guys can let me know what you thought. But let's talk about the show itself. So at the beginning of the show, we get to see everyone getting ready to leave to head to the one-on-ones. Robyn makes it absolutely clear that she is not happy to be doing this. She says that she would rather be getting a root canal. Christine doesn't like it because she keeps having to talk about the past, which I understand. Imagine being divorced and then years and years go by and you keep having to go back and talk about your ex. There'd be a point where you're like, no, thank you. I'm not doing this anymore. Or at least that's what I would do. So I can't blame her for not wanting to go back there. Janelle and Meri seem to be a little bit better, I guess. Janelle says that she likes to talk to Suki. She's nice to talk to. And Meri says she isn't worried about what she says because she's speaking the truth. So she's not trying to lie and keep up a story that's not real. She's telling exactly what happened, which to me implies that she feels like some people that are there might not like it because they're trying to maintain a story. They're trying to keep a lie going. At least that's how I took it. I could be looking too much into it. But Meri and Janelle seem to be okay with going back. After that, we see them all go and sit down with Suki, and she asks them questions about their lives right now and how it compares to movies. And Kody says something about a Batman movie and being a villain. And Suki asks him a little bit more about it, and then it leads to this.
It's easy to make fun of somebody who doesn't have a filter.
You may be wondering why I put that clip in there. I put it because I want to point out that Kody Brown realizes that his mouth is the problem. Kody will do something and it's bad. It's something that's not good. But then he runs his mouth and he runs it some more. And then eventually whatever he's saying doesn't even make sense anymore. Like he said one thing one time and then something else another time. And he's just adding layers to how awful his behavior was. If he would stop talking and apologize, I think his life would be completely different right now. Suki tries to help him out and she says something about, "You're speaking your truth." He could have just said, "Yeah, that's it." But no, not Kody. This is what he says next.
I go through 5 iterations of my truth, and then I pick one.
I had to screenshot his face at the end of this sentence because I genuinely believe it is the face of a man who thought he was explaining to the viewers why he was being turned into the villain, why he was being made fun of, but instead it just made him sound more like the villain. Why do you have 5 iterations of the truth to even have to work through? By the time you're done, at least a few of them are probably flat out lies or only contain a portion of the truth. It didn't help him the way I think he thought it was going to help him. After this, Suki brings up that Kody claims that he never loved his first wives, and they show some clips that are related to that. It's stuff that we've watched the last few seasons where Kody talks about how he did it because that was what his faith told him to do. Those kind of clips, we've seen them. Meri says that she still believes that they were in love and that Kody loved her, but he changed his mind and he fell out of love. She just wishes that he would admit it instead of minimizing their relationship. And I 100% agree. I think they were really in love, and as time went on and things happened, he fell out of love. And then Robyn enters the picture, and she's new and younger, and it's a whole new world that's sort of separate from the first 3 wives, and he feels like he's madly in love with her, and it's a different kind of love. But I don't think that's the case. I think he really loved Meri back in the beginning. Kody could just admit that. He could just say that's what happened. It would be so much more reasonable. It's not going to make him look like a great guy, but it's understandable. The thing Kody does where he says he didn't love them at all, though, that is mean. These women were with him for years. They had children with him. Saying he never loved them just seems cruel. He should just admit it. I agree with Meri. It's like he wants to try to rewrite history, or at least that's what we keep calling it. But really, sometimes rewriting history is just lying, and it seems like Kody does that sometimes. This whole topic of loving his wives or not loving them gets Kody worked up, and I feel like there was just a point where his mouth opened and it was just a bunch of word vomit. Before I throw this next clip in, I do want to give you guys a heads up. Kody says bad words because he's speaking fluidly. His filter is off. So Kody does some cussing here. That is your warning. Here's the clip.
Relationship with all your children is different. Your relationship with all your friends is different. There are ones that do different things that have different fulfillments and stuff like that.
I'm going to stop it right here because I already think Kody is off to a wild start. First of all, most of us feel like we love our friends, our children, and our spouse or partner differently. Those are not the same types of love. But what I really want to focus on is that word fulfillment. They fulfilled different things for him. But if you think about it, it was almost like that's exactly what it was. Kody went out and found a woman that did A, and then another woman who did B. And we know what it was. With Janelle, it was like a real friendship and a partner that was working to keep the family going. But it was more of a friendship. I think with Meri, there was a romance there, a romantic sort of love. I think when Christine came along, first of all, I think it was a big boost to his ego because she liked him so much, but I think she was very motherly and it was going to help the situation they were in. He was having issues with Meri and Janelle, so Christine came in and she was viewed as being helpful for that whole situation, and then she was very motherly. But I sort of wonder, was that it? Was he fulfilling roles in his life that he needed filled instead of looking for one good partner? Is that acceptable in polygamy? Is that okay? You go to each person for something different? Because then what happened was Robyn came along and they communicated well. They got along together as friends. He was attracted to her. She was a good mom. And that was the whole package. He didn't need all of the other women. It's far more efficient to have one person who does all of that. So him saying that it was fulfillment, I mean, there's some truth to that, but it's not positive. But then he adds this next part, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He had to realize that this is not something people are going to understand.
It's like you find higher love, and then everybody just slaps you down for it.
No one's slapping him down for it, but I think he needs to realize, to a lot of us, it almost feels like there was an affair, which I know is a weird thing when we talk about polygamy, but to say, I'm in love with all three of you, hold on, I'm loving this person more, and now I'm not really going to be a good husband to you or a good father to our kids because I'm more interested in that person. That feels more like an affair than a man living out polygamy. I wish that I could put in this whole part of the show, but I know I'm going to get copyright claimed if I do. I might make a second video and talk a little bit more about this, but he is really worked up over this, and he's on a roll. He is cussing. He is saying that he's sick and tired of being guilted for loving Robyn, and that it's a divine love. And all I could think was, it really was not that. It didn't have to be that heated. Calm down, Kody. But, you know, it's Kody, and it made good television. Here I am talking about it. But he keeps going on, and then it starts to not make sense anymore, and Suki sort of calls him out for it. I'm going to put the clip in of him talking about the salespeople.
I was in sales all my life. There was always a better salesman.
And Christine
Am I
also
supposed to
said
go
you
murder the better salesman because I'm so jealous that he's getting all the deals?
I have always avoided name calling on this channel because in general, I just don't like doing it, but I'm going to have to do it here. This idiot just compared the women he was married to, his wives, the mother of his children, to salespeople trying to get deals. Is this for real? Why would he do that? There is no way this is going to come out positive for him. And then it makes me think of that time Robyn said Kody was her best customer. This right here is interesting, though. This tells us a lot about the way Kody thinks. From my perspective, if they were salespeople, the sale took place and the purchase and the deal was done when they married him. And there was an agreement going forward that they were going to be in a relationship with him. They were going to get his time, his attention. He was going to be a husband. He was going to be a father to the children they had together. The sale was done. The purchase, the deal. If you want to use that kind of language, and it seems like Kody Brown does like to use that kind of language, it was already done. It's too late. It's not a competition anymore. But let's go to Kody's thinking for a minute. It is in his world, right? They're still trying to convince him that they need time and attention. I'm going to roll this over away from the wives. I think he thinks this way about his kids too. Which kids are the ones that are behaving the way that he likes? Which kids have the closest affiliation to the wife that was the best salesperson? I think he treats his kids the same way. I think he views everyone as someone who fulfills a need for him, who is giving him what he wants, doing what he wants, and then that person gets him to be a good husband. That person gets him to be a good father. It's all sales in Kody's world. I genuinely believe that. So as disgusting as it was for him to say that and go down that road, I think we got to see who Kody really is. I spent a whole lot of time on that. It was really only a few minutes, so let's keep moving. A little later, Kody makes a claim that every wife had the opportunity to have the same relationship that he had with Robyn. So basically, you can have the relationship with me that I have with Robyn. It can be that good. You have the opportunity to make it happen. That's what Kody claims. But I want to know how. How, specifically with Meri, could have she ever had the relationship that he had with Robyn if he stopped coming around her? It doesn't even make sense. And later, Suki goes to talk to the original wives about the idea that Kody tried to lift their relationships up to the level of his relationship with Robyn. And Christine points out that he didn't give them the time for that to happen, which is my perspective. Like, when would have that occurred? Because he had checked out of those relationships. Janelle says that he never tried, and she actually finds it funny enough that she starts laughing, and Meri says she isn't interested in that anyway. She never was. She doesn't want to be Robyn. After this, it sort of shifts over to talking about Meri pursuing the church release, and it was done on the grounds of abandonment. This was something that really bothered Kody because he didn't feel like he abandoned Meri. Now, Meri makes a comment that I think a lot of us have probably thought before. Why does it matter? Why does he care what the church thinks? He's made it clear he's not affiliated with that church anymore. So what is it to him? Now, in this one-on-one, Kody says he doesn't care. He says, I don't care. But in the past, he did care. He did care about that release, and he cared about it being on the grounds of abandonment. That was something that bothered him. But I want to put the clip in of Meri talking about Kody.
Like, I couldn't leave her because of my church beliefs, but then he's like, I don't believe in the church, so why are you doing this divorce?
Meri talks a little bit more, and then she refers to this as a double standard. And what it is the fact that Kody flips and flops. He goes back and forth when he talks about his faith and his feelings about the church they used to be a part of, which is fine. I think Kody is genuinely conflicted. I think he has really fond memories of when they were a part of the church and when they were practicing that faith. I don't think Kody knows where he stands. The problem is he uses it now in a way that's manipulative. 1 minute, it's the reason he couldn't leave his wives. 1 minute, he's upset that the church gave the release and they did it on the grounds of abandonment. He has all these really strong feelings, and then the next minute, he's like, I don't care. So I think there's some truth to him flipping and flopping. I think he just doesn't know exactly where he stands and what his feelings are, but I also think if he can use it to justify his bad behavior, he does. And if he can find a way to use it to be manipulative, he will do that. But that's just my feelings. Let me know in the comments if you have picked up on that as well. It just seems like when he needs it, those are the cards he'll play. You know, my faith had me do that. But I'm like, dude, you don't seem like you're practicing anymore. It's been a long time. It's no longer a good excuse. Before I move on, there's one more thing I want to bring up when it comes to the issue of abandonment. You know, Janelle and Christine say that Meri was abandoned. Christine goes as far as saying the three of us were. But then they ask Robyn. Suki asked Robyn about it, and this is what Robyn says.
I'm just not going to hit that right now. Just because there is differing opinions about what happened back then.
So Robyn is saying no comment when it comes to telling us if Kody really abandoned Meri. My take on this is that she's not commenting because the answer would be yes. It's hard to say otherwise. Kody really did let Meri down and no longer had any interest in that relationship. So that's abandonment. I think Robyn she didn't want to say it on camera. That's my take. But she says that she is not going to comment out of respect for both of them. After this, it goes from Meri's church release to talking about the legal divorce that took place between Kody and Robyn. According to Kody, nothing changed after the legal divorce, but Meri says that something did seem to change. It wasn't the same, but Kody refuses to talk about what happened anymore.
And something was going on that I will not speak of anymore because I've spoke of it enough, and she has convinced herself it never happened.
He goes on a little further and says he's not willing to talk about it anymore. Go to the old episodes. He also adds that he loves Meri and they've moved on in different directions. So I was like, well, what are we talking about? The only thing I could think of that would have been on the show that they haven't discussed is the catfishing. And as this show moves forward, we realize that is exactly what it is because he does bring it up and he talks a little bit more about it, and so does Meri. According to Kody, after the legal divorce, there was a time when he would be at her house and he would hear her giggling and talking to someone else, and then she asked him to leave. She told him to leave her house. At least that's how I took it. They were very vague. It was like they were trying not to say too much, but that was what I got out of it. Listen, I wasn't a fan of the legal divorce for Meri. I also don't think anyone wants their partner talking to someone else. So I don't think Meri was right when she was talking to the other person. I don't think she had an excuse if she was unhappy enough that she was pursuing a relationship, even if it was just over the phone and flirtatious. If she was pursuing that with someone else, she should have realized The relationship with Kody wasn't working for her and she should have left. That has always been my opinion. And I like Meri. I really do. She's probably my favorite on the show. I always say I have a soft spot for Meri. I don't think she's a perfect person, though. I don't think she should have been talking to someone else. So, yes, I think the legal divorce combined with that, you know, if there was anything left in that relationship, it was over then. When Suki is talking about the legal divorce, she discusses the possibility that it was some sort of scheme, right? Like maybe this was done for ulterior motives. It wasn't just adopting the kids. Janelle says that Kody isn't sophisticated enough to orchestrate that type of manipulation. Christine, though, she feels a little bit different. She feels like it was Robyn planting the seed. She doesn't think Meri had the idea. She can remember Robyn telling them that she knew of families where the husband did the same thing. He divorced their first wife and married another wife to adopt the kids. You know, this is something Christine has claimed for a while. When Robyn is asked about it, she completely denies it. She says she doesn't remember talking about it at all. At the end of the show, when there's only about maybe 2 or 3 minutes left, it starts to shift over to Janelle and Kody. They show some clips of when Janelle and Kody had sat down and tried to talk about things in their relationship. And there was that one moment where she brought up Robyn and he was like, I'm not going to talk about Robyn. I'm sure you guys remember that, right? Anyway, they focus on that. And then Janelle presents a theory. And I can't leave it out because I was like, she's got a point. Like, why does Kody do what he does? What is the motive behind it? Is it his ego? And I have always felt like his ego was a huge part of him trying to maintain all the relationships. Like in the end, when it was clear Janelle was just living her own life independently, almost living as a single person, why was he trying so hard? When Christine wanted to leave, why did he try so hard? Like, let it go. It's clear it wasn't working, right? According to him, his faith was the reason he was in the marriages. They want to leave, let him go if you're unhappy. That should have been his moment. I believe his ego was what was the part of him that was wanting them to stay. I don't think it was love. So she brings up that, but she has a theory about him and Robyn. So I'm going to put that clip in here.
Like, he either is running interference so hard for Robyn and trying to take the fall so that Robyn doesn't get any blame, because I think they're both culpable for their actions.
She goes on to say, or it's his ego, but it got me thinking, I believe it's probably both. I think Kody's ego was a huge part of it in the beginning. I think when people began to focus more on Robyn these last few years, there was this other side to it. I think his ego and his desire to protect Robyn is making him out to be the villain in all of this. And he didn't have to be, because when she mentioned that he was a failure, and that's where they end the show, she says that he's a failure in the eyes of the church. It got me thinking, I'm not religious. I'm not in their religion. Like, I'm not following any of that has to do with polygamy. Why is Kody a failure to me? Kody is a failure because he treated people poorly. Their marriages could have ended, and I could be sitting here saying, you know what? It didn't work out. Polygamy didn't work. I'm not really surprised. But look, Kody's a great guy. I could be saying that. I'm not, because of the way he spoke about his ex-wives, the way he has talked about his children, the way he has behaved. He could have still been a success for us people that aren't affiliated with that church and that faith. We could be saying he was a good guy, but we cannot, because he is so mean and his behavior is nasty and he neglects people. He has failed with that church, but he has failed with all of the viewers as well because of his actions. I think there are divorces that end on an okay note. Like, oh, both of those people put their feelings aside and did what was best for their children and for themselves. Kody did not do that one single time. He had 3 divorces where he could have treated the kids well or the ex-wives well. He had 3 chances right back to back, but he never got it right. And that's the problem with Kody Brown. Anyway, I know that I left stuff out. I always do in all of my videos because I can't just fit it all into this. And also with the tell-alls, it's just really difficult. There's so much said, and I can't put all the clips in that I want to, but I did the best I could, you guys. If you felt like I left something out, you can talk about it down in the comments. I look forward to reading those. If you haven't already, I hope you will click like and subscribe and come back to Happily Ever Reality.